Meow. Woof. Nay. Hello. Welcome to Animal Messages from Healing Your Animal with host Vicki Draper, best-selling author, certified healer, and animal communicator, sharing what animals want you to know. All right. Welcome. This is Vicki Draper, author, certified healer, and animal communicator. And this is episode 24 of the podcast, Animal Messages, What Your Animals Want You to Know. And the name of this one is Four Whippets, One Purpose. And so I was going to say one person, which it is one person, and it's one purpose. So I have with me here today Sherry Mortco out of Olathe, Kansas. And she has been working with me for over 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's been an interesting
Forever.
ride. Exactly. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be here.
And so, as many of you may have heard, that our animals pick us. And when they pick us, we don't know why. We just know they do. And we listen. Generally, we listen. And also, each animal is unique, just like people are unique. And so they each come with their own personalities and their own purposes and reasons for being with us. And as our teachers, they are wonderful teachers because they are also great mirrors. So there is a lot that we can learn from our animals. And Sherry and I started working together when she had her very first Whippet, Nico. And so Sherry is going to share about her experiences with her Whippets, Nico, Perry, Levi, and Farah. Farah is the current one alive.
Yes.
And just give you insights in case you deepen your relationship with your pets. And so, Sherry, I'll turn it over to you to share what you would like
Awesome.
to share.
Well, I am absolutely thrilled that we crossed paths probably in 2008. We were both at the same training as participants, as students, and we made friends because the facilitator, the teacher, said, so turn to somebody next to you. And we did. And then we ended up having a meal together. And I thought, this gal is fabulous. And what? She does what? And I was charmed and I was intrigued, but I was also like flat out hooked on the idea that this is work that people do, is to be an animal communicator and healer. And that was before I realized that I was going to need your services. So at that time in 2008, I had left the classroom after 20 years and I had started my own life coaching business. I did not grow up with dogs. And in 2002, my husband surprised me for an anniversary with a Whippet puppy. And we had done, research together and we had thought about breeds and all of that, but I didn't know that there was a puppy litter in the area and an AKC breeder and, my bestie, and he conspired to, take me to pick out a puppy. So Nico and I, on the day we met, he was 8 weeks old and with his brothers and sisters, and he was kind of hanging back in the back of the kennel. And I didn't necessarily want the first puppy that I met, the ones that were climbing up the front of the kennel looking to say hello first. I was pretty interested in that one that kind of behaved like I did, which is to sort of sit back and kind of watch and see what was happening before they jumped in. So we locked eyes and we belonged to each other instantly. And from there, years went by. 4 or 5 years later, I meet you, and a couple years later, um, probably about that timeline, you and I ended up working together. And I thought this makes sense for Nico and for me, to just have that support. As a life coach, I support people in making the good better. Certainly, we tend to things that are not as good as we would like them. But I thought I need to walk my talk and I need to make what's good better. And that way, if ever we get a little into the weeds or we get a little sideways health wise with this puppy, I'll know I have a resource. So Nico really from the beginning was my heart dog. I could look at this dog and have a thought and he would cock his head like I said it out loud when I didn't. And that I mean, I didn't know any different. I assumed all dogs were like that. I didn't realize that he was maybe a little more special than some. But of course, he also responded to me and was meeting me where I was at. So when you say they're also our mirror, they certainly are also our mirror. But he was absolutely connected to me from the beginning. He was probably 5 when Levi, the next Whippet puppy from the same breeder, came to live with us. And he was a different vibe, he was a different energy. He was like the funny boy. And he ended up being my jester dog. And so when the two of them were together, Nico didn't necessarily always think that Levi was funny, but I always thought Levi was funny. And they were fun and funny together. And they would run and chase each other at the park. People would stop and stare. They had never seen anything like it. Just these two dogs flying at the dog park. And so they were besties and they were my besties for all of the time that I had them from 2002 until Nico died in 2010. So they were with you as healthy, young, and adult dogs. And then they were both with you as they aged and crossed the Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah, and I love that story. I always love that story of when you and Nico locked eyes and you knew. And, you know, you brought up the term heart dog, and that is a term I do use because, um, like, I've had multiple animals in my life, and it's like I love all of them. And then when there's that one special one, like it's a really big soul connection,
Yeah.
that's the term in case listeners aren't understanding that. And that is just so special
Yeah.
when you have that.
Well, he taught me how to be a dog mom. We learned a lot together, and certainly in the year, about a year, maybe it might have been 11 months between when his hemangiosarcoma tumor was found, and it was on the inside of a knee on a back leg. And when he died, I'm just clear that our work together afforded us easily an extra 6 months of good time. Vets are they're my vet is my age, and he's, maybe thinking that he will retire soon. But I learned a lot from him about how to be a good dog mom from a vet perspective. I have to admit, he might not have been somebody that would send me to someone like you. We talked about, do we do chemo? Do we take that leg to keep this cancer from spreading? What are, we looked at and talked about all of the options after all of the scans and all of the blood work and all of the things that a vet will do. And I'm grateful that I had you already, and that Nico had you already, and that we knew one another, all of us already, before I had to start making decisions about how to energetically support Nico as much as possible to have as much quality of life as possible in the time remaining. So while I had not lost an animal companion before, I didn't feel like that was something I had to face alone. And I don't know why it would have concerned me. Maybe we just love the story we've lived, that bringing you in a high intensity moment would have been a gift. But I also see the gift in us having worked together for a long time before we had to kind of get down to that business of how to start saying goodbye, and then to actually step through that door with a pet that you're going to send on ahead and say, I love you, my love, and I will catch up later. And I I love that we have help for this part of the conversation.
We do. He just took my earring out.
Yes.
We gotta love these
Yes,
little guys, don't we?
we do.
Are you being Levi at the moment kind of be a Chester moment? Um, because so yes, as you were sharing about we were navigating and helping you navigate Nico's transitioning because you'd never been through that before with an animal. And part of that was, well, giving you tools
Yes,
to support between sessions, and then also how to help Levi navigate it as well.
for sure.
Because sometimes when one gets sick, then they get all the attention, and the other pet really needs to be involved. And so,
Yeah.
helping you with Levi and that, so that Levi could still feel special and a part of the
Yes.
process as Nico was
Hmm.
transitioning. Because our animals know. I mean, they know they're
Yeah.
smarter than a lot of people give them credit for, and so yeah, so just by including him in the process, and just makes it go
Right.
smoother for everybody.
Well, maybe it's everyone's tendency. Mine might have been a tendency to try and shelter him or protect him from all of that. And the way that we could talk to both of them about what was happening and hear what they had to say to one another. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know that's even an option. And to have, I think the words you used when Nico was dying kind of woke me up to the fact that he wasn't sad. He was tired, but he loved me and loved his life. But he was also um, at ease and at peace with the idea that he would go to the place that animals go after they're done here, and that I would catch up later, and that he all he needed to know was that I would be fine. And we talked about that and how would I keep his energy and memory present and alive. And that part of Levi's job that we already knew was to be the jester, and that would be of heart connection and service and support and love to me. And it was a sweet little bundle of ways that I would feel quite a bit less alone than I would have if we had not had any of the conversations that we had. And I do think that Levi was better as an only dog as a result of that. They were, you will see puppies in a pile, and that's kind of how they were together, was snugged up, or one laying sleeping on the other. And then when we're down to only one, what I didn't know I needed to think about, what do I do with this dog that's been left behind? And the three of us talked about it. And that seems just like completely normal to me today, that we would talk about all that. And that you would help me make sure I knew what Levi was thinking, and make sure he knew what I was thinking.
Yes, and what I guess I helped educate you, as well educate the audience,
For
that
sure.
our animals grieve.
Yeah.
They grieve, and it's differently than we do, and it's important to get support for them, the ones that are left behind. I'll say left behind, the ones that are still here. Because what I notice is when that happens, then it just opens their life up.
Yeah.
They can move on more easily in the way they do.
Right. And if I'm sad, or I'm grieving, or I'm in my lostness, they fret about that.
Absolutely.
And will try to help, which I can misinterpret if I don't know. Or I can, if they're sort of off, then I might misinterpret what's going on with them and make a misstep. I don't know that we had very much of that, although, certainly no one takes away the pain of losing an animal. And you can, I think, move through that with more confidence that you're doing the right thing, both for yourself and for the animal that's left behind, if you've got a little bit of a conversation you've had about how it works and what are they thinking. And Nico came back to visit a couple times, and both in a session and for me on my own. And I for sure would have said, I didn't just see that.
Yeah.
I would not have believed my own eyes. And that's not to make light of anything that seems like kind of woo woo, but that is a thing that can happen, and it's a flash. And I learned to accept that, because it has happened consistently with all of them since then. It isn't that they're in the house now all the time, but Nico would come back and check on us, and we talked about that routinely in sessions.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've talked about Nico, and we've talked about Levi. You want to share a little bit about Perry?
So Nico and Levi were raised as puppies from puppyhood, and they came from a breeder on one side of town, and an AKC breeder on the other side of town had an acquaintanceship, a friendship. All those dog people all know each other, especially if they raise the same breed. And the puppy breeder and I would have Facebook conversations about when would I be ready for a next dog. And she had some older dogs that had been in the show ring and had had puppies, and she was wondering if one of them, was meant to come live with me. And it was too soon. It wasn't quite ready. And she had a glorious, beautiful, all black whippet named Oprah, actually, who she was looking and thinking she belongs on your sofa, Sherry. But it was too soon. And by the time I was ready, she had placed Oprah, and there was a show dog at on the other side of town who was looking for a home because he had finished his show career. And so the two women breeder friends connected, and this gal from across town reaches out to me and says, I heard from the breeder that you've worked with before that you might be open to rehoming a show dog. And we talked about that, and I went to meet Perry, and holy moly, he never met a stranger in his life. I mean, there's a reason he charmed the socks off everybody in the show world. And Perry's kennel name is Aladdin's party favor, and he was a party.
Yeah.
You didn't know you were going to. He absolutely, Nico was my heart dog, Levi was my jester dog, and Perry was my party dog. And you could lay your hands on his ribs and you could feel the party. It was like when, I mean, I'm aging myself, right? You go to the disco and you feel the beat. You don't have you feel it before you even get close enough to the door to hear the music. You could feel this dog's vibe. And he loved everybody, and he was on you until you acknowledged that that was his job and he had scored with you. And he was at home instantly, and he was loud and proud in the love department in this house for the 5 years that we had him. He did not end up living well into his adulthood. He was 8 when he died, and come to find out that his sister, who was a year younger, had died of the same thing at the same age, which, breeders always are looking to make sure that they keep track of that kind of thing, which is how we knew a sibling had also died of the same thing. But he loved us hard while we had him, and he let me know one day, and within 4 he said, I think I'm wrapping it up here. And so his was quite a bit quicker of a timeline than Nico's, which was quite lengthy, and Levi's too, for that matter. But Perry had he had I mean, our last moments, he had a bite of banana and gave me a puppy kiss, and then he sailed off across the Rainbow Bridge. But his job was absolutely to light you up, and he stayed with it
Very.
until the very absolute last moment. And I don't love him more or less than the others, but his was really big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nico was just for me, and Perry was, look at all these people around you, mama. I can love on them too. And yeah, his was
Yeah.
a big one.
He had a very big presence,
He
and
had a very big.
yeah. And then Levi is still alive at this point. So Levi had lost two
He
brothers.
had he had
Yeah.
and Levi's homegoing was his mental status changed, and so we had some weeks with him where he didn't really respond to me. He would eat, but he was not connected in the way that he always had been, and that was our sign that it was time with him. With Nico and with Perry, we could have, they and I, those boys and I could have a conversation in the way that I know how, to say it's time to wrap up. And with Levi, you and I really needed to get his help to make sure that we were reading him correctly.
Yeah, and
They
Levi.
were
Oh, go
they
ahead.
left in the same year. They left
Oh,
within a very short time
okay.
that Perry died. Levi died within 6 or 8 months after him.
Levi was a big teacher for me in that he, maybe because it was mental, he was having strokes, I think.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Um, and but he was actually scared to leave you in the physical because he really wanted to stay and help you.
Yeah.
And so that was where I had to when I let him know he can help from the other side,
Yeah.
he then relaxed
Yeah.
and was able to then transition peacefully.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's how much he really wanted to still be here for you because you were going through a really hard time.
Yeah, I had some kind of situational stuff happening in my life that was a challenge, and I didn't have a way to directly correct it or improve it. And he had seen hard things come and go for me, but knowing that he had a buddy, he had a partner. And then, so that happened with Levi when my parents were dying. And then with Perry and I got me through the other parent dying. And then Levi is alone with me navigating a circumstance that, took 2 or 3 years for the eye of the storm to really move through. And I think we both learned a lot from him about how to allow the love from the other side to fill us, and it's different than when they're here, but it doesn't mean it isn't a fact that exists, and that has an impact if we'll allow it, if we'll collaborate with it. So
Yeah. And
that's
then
where we get into their purpose.
that's
Those boys especially are teachers, and they're just love hounds.
yeah. So the title of this is right, four whippets, one purpose. So we'll get into Farah here, which will be the fourth one. But do you want to share a little bit about the purpose, or you want to wait till we talk about Farah and then?
Well, yeah, I think you'll hear the purpose when I talk about Farah,
Okay,
but
perfect.
the heart circle is she is most like Nico in the fact that her purpose is now to remind me that the love never ends. That's what all of them have done, but for sure the first one and now this one. So I'll see if she'll come over here and say hello.
Oh, I know.
See me?
Then
Come
Farah, yeah, let's
here. Come here.
see her live.
Come here. Come here. Come say hi. Come on. Come on. Come on. Slowly getting up. Come on.
Okay.
Come on. Come say hi. Hi. Hi.
Well, because Farah has been a big gift. Is she going to? She's
Yes.
okay. There we go. Farah has been a big gift, and the timing just divine because of you getting it. There she is. Hey, sweet.
Hi.
Oh, did we disturb your nap?
You did.
Yeah, she has
But
these
that's okay. There's another
cozy,
one waiting.
okay, she has these cozy cave beds that she just
Yes.
loves.
Say hi.
Thank
Say
you for making an appearance. I know, because
hi. Say
Sarah has helped Sherry go through breast cancer, the
yes.
diagnosis and now the recovery. And you want to share a little bit about that story, how you rescued her and she's rescued you?
Exactly. You know, she the first two boys came to me as puppies, and then the third boy came after his show career was finished, and the breeder was actually had not occurred to her that maybe she would place him in a pet home. And she's like, "Oh, well, I could do that. I could do that. He would love living with you." And then after Perry had been gone a time, Farah is, so she's 4.5. And at 2, she had finished her show career. And I guess the way it works, which I wasn't aware in show homes, is that you finish a dog when they have worked their way up the ranks and gotten all the championshipping showing done that they're available to do. And so she had finished her championship run in the show ring and was going to have a litter or two. And so the breeder is looking for someone who will maybe buy Farah and breed her. And so she had a litter with a daddy dog that hadn't been super well vetted. And those pups did not turn out to be show quality. So it took a minute to, and there was, some question about how is this going to go? Is she going to be a good mama dog? And the invitation to own Farah went out and there were no takers. And so the breeder said, you know what? She will love living with you. I've seen how dogs live at your house. And she has been sort of shuttled between the breeder's home and the handler's home, and then the other person's home who had the daddy dog, and then back to the hand. She just has not really ever landed in one place and figured out who's her person. So she's bred a second time. The breeder says, well, I want to see if I choose the daddy dog, what kind of puppies she's going to have. And she said, after she's had her litter, then she'll come to you when she's weaned her puppies. So that's what happened. And beautiful 8 beautiful babies were born. And of course now all of these people want to buy this dog because she makes such beautiful babies, and the breeder says, I'm sorry, but she's already promised. So Farah came to live with me after she weaned her puppies, and it was it wasn't even 15 minutes in this house before she had explored all of the places where she could nap, except the one she just would, wherever I was, that's where she would nap. And she is a lap dog. She puts up with my husband and is polite and kind and will hang out with him, but she and I are, and she knows that that's the agreement she and I have made, that she will be treated like the Queen of Sheba, and she is, and I'm happy to do it. And she really doesn't, there's no place I am that she is not, and no place that I go that she doesn't want to follow. Now, we've arranged it so that, there are times when she's over here on the sofa or in the chair in the cave bed, but her connection, she was just waiting. She was just waiting for who's going to be my person. And she just has this limitless supply of love she pours into that. And there's no mistaking. There's no mistaking how deep and wide the heart of this little girl dog is after all of these boys who are so loud and proud.
Yeah.
She's quiet and she is shy. She does love people, and I see why she was a charmer in the show ring as well. It's beautiful. But that's the purpose that she has brought full circle, is another heart dog. And to the degree that Nico sent her, I wouldn't be a bit surprised. And I don't wish a breast cancer diagnosis on anybody. It is 0 stars, do not recommend. That is my Yelp review. And there is something about an animal that doesn't care about any of that and just cares about you and how are you, and let me help if I can. And she did. Now, my breast cancer road was smoother and shorter than many women have, but there is still this part of you that really is stopped in her tracks. And there is a certain amount of upset that a dog can help you manage that you don't have to explain. And there's a lot about a breast cancer diagnosis and the treatment that is really hard to find words for. And so I certainly had great people and deeply loving family around me, including a 4-legged dog that, I mean, we did have to negotiate after surgery who sleeps where in the bed a little bit, but her, I don't know. I don't know how it would have gone without her impact and her influence and her unwavering willingness to keep me company and all that. And it's weird to say, I couldn't have done it without the dog, but I couldn't have done it without the dog and the husband and the doctors and, my healer and all of that. Because that's a place where you stepped in the way that you heal pets and people, that your support, certainly what she's learned from you and what I've learned from you in the way that your healing work works for people is a powerful, um, it's a powerful piece to add to anybody's healing journey.
Yeah, because Farah was telling me where she was concerned about you. And so that, yes, I was supporting you, which helped her because then she could let it go, seeing you were supported, and we just kept that
But
care rolling.
it's a love train. It absolutely is a love train. Somebody said to me, that dog, she's your love train. She leads your love train, doesn't she? And I said, I think so.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. And I want to share with people that you did your due diligence in preparing her from going from the show environment to a just a pet home.
Mm-hmm.
And because we had sessions beforehand and let her know what was happening, we let her know the difference, the different rules, because she had specific rules there, and that she couldn't get on the couch, she couldn't go in the kitchen, And so we talked with her beforehand and let her know it's like a new house, new rules,
Yeah.
and showed her what she was coming into. And so then, like you said, she just easily acclimated.
Yeah.
It just made that journey very smooth and set her up
Yeah.
to support you quicker. And you got that.
Well, she was absolutely loved in the way that a show dog is loved. It's very different when they come into a pet home, and they, how they did in the ring that day and were they on or not is irrelevant. And I do now. I mean, The day I met her, she had a rabbit in her mouth, and I'm like, okay, weird. Yeah. So she is a hound, and she, the breed was bred for hunting, and that's she certainly is not just a beauty queen. And I think the thing that cracks me up about her, but is also that, I wouldn't know what I didn't know without you having been in our life, is that we needed to pave the way for her to move from a show environment with certain behaviors and a pet environment where if somebody said, here, jump up, come sit with me, that she can do that. And she isn't gonna, it's not a trap, that
Yeah.
she's gonna be scolded later. And if I were a breeder, I'm not sure I would want all of my breeding dogs up on the furniture all the time.
Yeah.
But giving her a way to win was, that's something that we learned along the way, how to help with the transitions, and how to, even just a little, I'll never forget the first time you talked to me about how you tell a dog how long you're going to be gone when you're traveling. Just all of the little tricks that I've accumulated with you about blinking for nighttime, because they understand night and day, light and dark, and get, how many blinks you're going to be gone. So many ways that you can facilitate the conversation so that they're clear. I saw a meme on Facebook that said, what do you mean, do I talk to my dog? What am I supposed to do when they ask me a question? And I'm like, no. Is that not how it works? And I don't, yeah. I'm sad to even consider if we had not had you along our way these you know all these years.
It was been awesome, and still going. So
Well, I won't bring a dog into this house that we haven't, you know paved the way. And the notion that you can connect with an animal from their photograph, I'm like, well, how does that work? But again, over time, I just have, there's a lot about it I don't understand, even though I do understand energy and intuition. And, as a Reiki master myself, that's a skill that you and I have both been trained in. The the mental construct is not necessary for the work to work. And I think you talk about, you have clients who understand intuition and some who don't. And no matter what or which or where you fall, the work is accessible and the work works. And I would absolutely say to anybody who goes, what is to have a session, and you'll see your pet will be different, will be improved.
yes, yes, because I do have some clients. I have a range of clients that are very open. It's not normal for them or common. And to some, it's like, I have no clue what you do, yet I know it works because my cats are always different when you leave our home. Or, yeah. And so it's rewarding because the work works the same. And I guess what I didn't share at the beginning is you are in Kansas. What I did share, I didn't share, I'm in Seattle, Washington. So all of our
Right.
work has been
Has been
distant,
remote.
has been remote.
Yeah.
And so with the energy, it doesn't matter. I get the animals respond whether we're remote or whether I'm in person with them. And so that's what's nice, because that's where I can work with feral or really scared animals that you can't touch,
Uh-huh.
and that we can get results because it doesn't have to have physical touch to get results.
Yeah. Well, and Levi, that was, these strokes were creating a little bit of a, um, tactile defensive reaction. And it was a huge gift and a huge blessing that it didn't have to be hands-on.
Mhm.
When you came to visit, you met Perry, I believe.
No, I met Levi.
You met Levi. Okay.
I
It
met
was
Levi in person.
before
Yeah.
Perry.
Yeah, he's the
And
only one of your
yeah,
Whippets I've met in person.
yeah. Well, we'll need you to come to town again
Exactly. I'll have
for
to come meet
Fairy.
Sarah in person.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
well, and it's been, speaking of that, it's fun when I've worked with an animal and we get to meet in person,
Uh-huh.
because their language is energy and the connection I have with them is energy. So they know me. They just,
Absolutely. And
there is a knowing
yeah,
when I meet them.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty fun to watch.
And so, yeah, it was very precious to meet Levi in person. So,
Well, one of the things that I know that you do is that you will sort of do a little bit of an assessment and a check with someone who's new to you and new to this kind of work, to see and sift and sort what's happening with a person and a pet and figure out what is the best way forward. Nobody ever just dives in out of nowhere without you having a sense of what their situation is and how you can support. That it's always, that there's a way in that is solid and step by step, rather than bowling over a pet or their person.
yeah,
I've
yeah,
never I mean, that's just never been on the radar or a question at all.
yeah. And so that's why I do offer a complimentary assessment before any work, with clients. One, so we get to know each other. Two, to see if what I do is a good fit. And three, we make a plan. So it's like,
Right.
okay, here's what's going on. Here's going to be the best approach, or here are options. And so that we can then create the plan. Because yes, I have my sessions that help. I also have books for people that want to um,
Yep.
read. And speaking of, and then I also have essences that are in a spray mist format that are healing in a bottle, so a great
Mhm.
support. And in my sessions, I use the essences as homework. However, people can use the essences on their own. And so, depending on where people are with their budget and how we make a plan and what's going on, I can support many different budgets and many
Right.
different scenarios. And that's what I love because, I really, 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 this is my passion. And it thrills me to know that there are people and animals out there living their best lives,
Mm.
because, that's my desire, is just to create that. And so that's where like I said, with the essences or with the books, I can reach many more people than just private sessions. And I also teach classes. So people that want to learn to massage their pets, or they want to, as a, not as a profession, but as the pet guardian. And then
Mhm.
I also teach the animal communication, and I teach all about the chakras and the healing that provides. So I give people lots of tools, lots of ways to really have the best quality with their animals.
Well, and I think that's, I mean, I don't, you would have to tell me what percent of your clients um, find themselves with an appetite to learn more. and what can I do, and what of this can I learn to do. And the classes in the beginning have just been, I mean, I use those, what I learned every day with every dog since Nico, when I took those classes. And there are a lot of times where you'll say, all right, so remember when we talked about, and you'll direct me to one of those techniques. And I do think that there's, well, Iceland Spar in particular, I don't know how many bottles I've gone through of that, because it is so often part of the conversation is use it for this and this and this at these times, and it just, it's night and day difference.
Awesome. Yeah. Um, I can remember one time you had said it's like bringing out the big guns.
Yeah.
Because it is, it's powerful and it has many different purposes.
Well,
And so, yes, I use that daily actually. Because there's
well,
a,
and I have to say the radiation spray for my 6 weeks of radiation was, I didn't leave the home. I didn't leave home without it.
nice because you tell your
Yep.
body take what it's going to do and then help.
Right, and leave the rest. Only deal with what is being asked to be healed.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
And so, for those listening, I do have the Clear Iceland Spa and Protection are a great daily regime for any person,
Nice.
any animal, and so that's what comes with the first session. Um, and yeah, it's just a powerful set. So, any last words with before Whippets? One purpose that you'd like to share? I mean, what I'd like to share is it's been amazing supporting you and your Whippets on their life journey and your life journey together.
Mhm.
Um, and you're actually in my second book, Heart to Heart, How You Can Heal Your Animal Through All Stages of Life. And that's just it. We go through, and then in that book, I teach techniques that you do for healing and helping your animal at all stages and even at the end
Yep.
of their life. Um, and so, is there a last burning nugget that you would like to?
Well, I know for me, I joke about the heart dog and the full circle between Nico in 2002 when he was born to Farah today. But my growing up story was full of loss. And so all of my life, love has been risky business. And in order to, I certainly didn't know it at the time, but stepping into losing both parents in a long, season of loss before they actually died, and a brother-in-law and a favorite uncle and a business, for example, the love train that they have always, all of them represented, is that's the lesson that they've been meant to bring me with your help, is um, how to say yes to that, as opposed to what would have probably been my instinct as I got older and started losing my people. I easily would have said no. And so the work that you do, we throw a rock in the pond and we can see the ripples. They might be very subtle the further out they get, but they still are powerful. And these little spirits that have been willing to keep me company with your support are, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Giving them back is awful, but
Yeah,
the power of the love they mirror is, you said that in the beginning, is that they are our mirrors. And I learned from looking in their eyes what love looked like in a way that I had not been willing to see. And there's no strings attached with these animals. It's like, How good can you stand it, sister? Here you go.
Exactly.
So grateful to you, grateful to them, grateful to you all together. And everybody needs to have a Vicky in their corner with their animals about all the things.
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So, for those listening, if you would like, you can schedule an assessment with me. Simply go to www.healingyouranimal.com. That's HealingYourAnimal.com. And from there, you can scroll down and set up your assessment. And if you're not quite ready for that, you can sign up for my free gift. I have a free MP3 that I am turning into an ebook called 5 Important Things Your Vet Won't Tell You. And so it goes through support that I do that is above and different than what it complements what your veterinarians do. And so that's also on my webpage. And so you've got the slot for both. And when you sign up for the 5 Important Things Your Vet Won't Tell You, you will be added to my newsletter. And then you can get information of when classes are. And I always give tips in the newsletter. So you'll get a tip that you can use right away. And then when you're ready, you can reach out for your assessment.
Yeah.
And so I am so delighted to have you here with us today, Sherry and Nico and Levi and Perry and Farah, who got to do a in-person for you. We got to see her on the camera.
Well, I feel pretty sure that they've been, roaming around and sitting on the energetic sofa watching what's happening here.
Yeah, and my cat Spirit, he got in on the action today too.
Yeah, it's like, oh, everybody's here. It's a party.
Yeah. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Here. And
it's our pleasure.
Yeah. So, all right. Vicki Draper, author, certified healer, and animal communicator, www.healingyouranimal.com. See you next time.
Take care.